Hey, what's up, everybody? Uh, well, we'll kind of ease into this a little bit. Oh, I forgot to change my hat. Oh, let me do that real quick. Be right back. Realized I could see myself. All right. Well, I thought tonight, and I'll turn the camera around here. I thought tonight it would be interesting for us to, as a group, because this group probably knows more about the emergency food market than I would argue to say just about anybody else. The prepping community probably knows a good bit. I don't know because I'm not in that community, but I'm sure that they are well versed in current emergency foods. So this is going to be coming from a ration collector slash, I eat a lot of MREs and emergency food type meals. And I thought it's something that I wanted to bring up tonight because it kind of made the news a little bit, but Costco's really selective about the products that they carry. Okay, so they don't just carry a bunch of everything like Walmart or what's another big chain store. Wow, there's like no hardly any left. Like your local grocery store tries to carry a little bit of everything. Costco carries select products in bulk that they think will sell. I mean, they'll try new products out and see how they sell, but they just currently started carrying ReadyWise emergency. Like it's like I don't know what was it. It's like 132 pasta meals or something. It must be like a week's worth of food for probably four people. That's what I'm guessing, just based on the numbers that I heard. That may not be exactly what it is. I think it's a bucket. Um, you know what? Why don't I just look it up real quick because just to have accurate information. So my point is that something that you should invest in? I think when it comes to emergency food and what you're going to have put up, this could be because you live in an area that gets a lot of storms. You may lose power for a week or two. It happens. These things happen, and you're kind of stuck at home. The stores are closed down. Whatever. So my first suggestion is if you want to put some food back, if you can't do it with natural canned like stuff that you canned yourself, you grew yourself, because that's the healthiest and best way to go. 100% like better than buying something processed out of a store. Well, I mean, if I could do that, that's the way I would do it. I would can meats, vegetables, fruits, or I would freeze dry them if I had a freeze dryer. Freeze drying, we all know, is by far the tastiest way uh, for food to be preserved, and it retains all of its nutrients that way versus being dehydrated. That's not. You lose some nutritional value that way. You lose some taste that way. You lose some texture that way. Freeze drying, sometimes it affects the texture, but we'll get more into that. So ReadyWise, from what I've personally had experience with and what I've seen, it is a lot of pasta. It's a lot of pasta and powders. So they'll offer powdered drink mixes, maybe some powdered milk, a lot of noodles with like cheese sauces, stroganoff, things like that. Let's see what Costco. Oops. And it used to. I'm pretty sure that Wise and ReadyWise, I think they're at some time they changed their name or they were. I don't know, But I used to have Wise Foods. I'm sure I've got some put up somewhere, like a little bit. But at some point, it became Ready Wise, or maybe it was always Ready Wise, and they just had Wise on the packaging. Here we go. So this is what they got. Well, where's Costco at? Huh. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, they do. They're carrying a bucket that has 124 servings in it. It's Ready Wise emergency food supply, 124 servings with 8 bonus servings, so looks like 132 total. 25-year shelf life. Let's see exactly what's contained in this. So what's included in their bucket is the creamy pasta and vegetable rotini, 8 servings of that. Savory stroganoff, 8 servings of that. Pasta Alfredo, 4 servings of that. Cheesy macaroni, 4 servings of that. Tomato basil soup with pasta, again pasta, 8 servings of that. Southwest beans and rice, hey, we got something that's not pasta. 8 servings of that. Chicken flavored noodle soup, 8 servings of that. Brown sugar and maple multigrain, I'm going to assume that is some sort of oatmeal. And then they got apple cinnamon, 8 servings of that. Vanilla pudding, 4 servings plus 4 bonus servings. 8 servings of yogurt. They got 8 total servings of freeze-dried fruit. That seems new to me. 32 servings of orange drink mix and 12 servings of whey milk alternative. So it's a 132 serving bucket. And what's their price? Huh. I can't see the price unless I'm a Costco member. I don't know what they're charging for that. You would think it would be a decent deal because of the way Costco works. Like that's their deal, bulk, and their prices are a little lower because you're buying so much. But I'm not seeing a price right off the rip here. Hang on. Oh. Ow. All right. After 120 servings, Ready Wise, 150 serving emergency food bucket. Variety, delicious meals. Is this going to give me a price? Huh, okay. Actually, this is not bad. $79.99 for the 150 serving bucket of, wait a second. It says variety pack. These are different than what I was just talking about. But anyways, Costco has decided to work with Ready Wise as a emergency food. And the reason that I have the HDR out is because I don't know, it depends on how long you guys have been in the community. HDRs used to be really hard to get. Like they were very, very few and far between. And if you had HDRs back in the day, I'm going to say 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, like they were great trading fodder. And they were like, because a lot of people had never had their hands on them. And about 3 years, I'm going to say about 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, something happened and the market became flooded with them. Actually, it was like late 2020, early 21, I'm going to say, somewhere in that era, because I bought all 3 varieties. So every military food manufacturer makes a version of humanitarian daily ration, an HDR. So I went through them and opened them all up at one point, and that's why this one's open. It's complete, but it's we opened it and looked to see what the difference was for each menu. So this is 20 meals in a case. Now, it's 10 bags, but it's 20 meals. If you think that you could eat something like this, there's some really great values to be had in the HDRs. Used to be, I'm telling you, used to be if you had a humanitarian daily ration, they would go for 30 or 40 bucks a piece. Just a few years ago, seriously, they were hard to get, they were expensive, and the market got flooded with them recently. And these aren't being acquired by people illegally or anything. The government has surplus them out, and people have started picking them up and reselling them, because if you buy them in bulk from the government directly, I'm pretty sure that they're selling them for less than 20 bucks a case, which is kind of crazy, because I know how much it costs the government to manufacture those cases, and they are taking a huge loss, which is how they do with all the stuff that they surplus, the stuff that they deem no longer useful, or they're moving out of the area. Instead of moving it, they'll just sell it off. So humanitarian daily rations have become abundant, and if it's something that your palate will tolerate, it's a great way to stock up on calories. Fairly decent as far as the quality of food versus it. In a sense, it's kind of even better than MREs, because a lot of places that these rations would end up, the people couldn't even tolerate the crap that they put into our rations, preservative-wise and dyes and all that crap that you see, that I wish Americans in general would boycott and start moving away from this just horrible food practice. Which that's on... That gets deep when you start talking about why food is the way it is in America. Like, you couldn't take 80% of the food in America to another country; it would be illegal to manufacture or sell, for that matter. We really need to reform our food, and I'm a huge advocate for that. The more people that I can inform, the more people that I can talk to about this, and them get a sense. But here's the thing. This is something that I personally have noticed, is once I started getting informed and realizing what the real, like, what's really in these foods, you can't hardly eat anything without feeling bad about it. You're like, man, I wish I wouldn't have ate that because it's got all this dye in it, or it's got all this corn syrup in it, or, go down the list. Time out. But I want to get some of your guys' feedback. So I realized, like, I haven't had an HDR in a long time. And I realized I built up this bias in my head, like, I really don't like those things. And, the reason I've done that, I think, is because the price used to be so high for what I was getting. And it just didn't make sense in my brain to pay $30 or $40 for one of these things, and versus what I got in it. Now, I think you could pick cases of HDRs up, shipped for like 50 bucks. So $2.50 a meal, roughly, is what they're breaking down to. Or maybe they're like 60 bucks shipped. What still, I mean, that's $3. Yeah. $3 a meal, right? So the other night, I was looking at one of these HDRs, and I thought, man, this thing's actually got some pretty good stuff in it. And again, I formed this bias in my head years and years ago because of how high the prices used to be. I was like, man, it just ain't worth it. Now, though, versus other emergency prepared foods out there, this might not be a bad option. I would highly recommend, if you're wanting to stockpile some food, to grab a case of these. Look up on YouTube, like, because there are variances. Some of them have like that sunflower butter, some versus some have peanut butter. So look into which ones have what you think you would like. Grab a case and try them out. And if you like them, that's a super cheap way to, like, it costs the government like $130 or $140 a case just to produce these. That's the numbers that were, and that was, geez, I looked at those numbers like 5 to 7 years ago, probably. So I don't know what they're costing. It's probably costing them a lot more now with the prices of everything, honestly. I mean, I know they locked those contracts in, but still, like, with the price of everything going up, I'm sure the manufacturers had to raise their prices. And I just looked down and I seen Shocker in the comments. So let me get some of your guys' feedback, and then we'll go through and look at what the contents are in this particular HDR, which is a menu 4. Because I'd really like to hear what you guys think as far as your suggestions for emergency foods. Maybe you guys know about something out there that I don't know about, which is definitely possible. I mean, I do not claim to know everything at all. I am learning. I'm trying to learn something new every day. Storm Tracker says, yeah, you've seen a couple videos of HDRs, and it would be something to invest in. Like I said, with the way the prices are on HDRs right now, you know what? Let me just look up right now as we're live and see what kind of prices are on eBay, because eBay is going to be the best place to pick up HDRs, in my personal opinion. If you can find them on Amazon, I don't recommend. I don't. I think we all should boycott Amazon. I think Amazon is one of the problems, and I also think that Walmart is a huge problem. We need to go back to smaller businesses. I got signed out of eBay somehow. All right. Okay. No freaking way. There's no way. All right. This guy has 5,352 feedbacks. 99.4% positive feedback. This guy's about to get a huge promotion from me, of anybody out there. This is insane. All right. Well, I'm just going to turn the phone around right here. Look at that. Here, let me turn it around like this. That is $36.50 per case. Right? Hold up. This can't be right. This is insanity. This is for a case with an inspection date of 12/23 HDRs. Looks like the ones he's showing are Warnicks, and the one I have on the table just happens to be a Warnick. $36.50. That's $3.65 per bag. So that's like $1.87. $25, $1.87, $1.87. It's like $1.87 a meal. I had no idea that they were this cheap. This is absolutely bonkers. He has sold 23 cases in the past 24 hours. Let me see. Looks like, oh, they're even cheaper if you buy more. So if you buy more than one, the price goes down to $34.68 per case. This is bananas. You found 2023 production date cases? Tracy Phillips says he found 2023 production date cases. I wonder if maybe that's what these are. Hang on. No, they're 2020s. The ones I just showed you guys are 2020s. Let me see here. Here's another. These are the Sapacos. This person, the same guy, has Sapacos. He's asking $37.50 a case for them. How much Tracy say? $38 shipped. Okay, so this is bananas. Like, the reason I wanted to have this discussion openly with the chat, and I want feedback. I want to hear what you guys think. Like, outside of buying a freeze dryer for yourself, right, and freeze drying your own preferred foods, buying freeze dried food is rather expensive. Unless you can find a crazy sale going on or something. If you do, I highly recommend you pick that stuff up. Even if it's to just maybe sell it to your buddy who likes freeze dried food or something. Tuna, meatless food. Tuna, meatless food is good for you if prepared right. Tuna, meatless food. What? I'm confused about what you're saying. I'll see. Tuna's good for you or meatless food's good for you? I don't know what you mean. So anyways, whoever this guy is, this Ozark Outdoors, he must have had like some semi-truck trailers get disconnected in his front yard and get left behind. Because there's, like, he's legit, I don't know how he's making anything. After eBay takes their percentage, after he pays for shipping, after he pays the PayPal fee. Like, I don't know, unless he got them for free. So here's 2 cases shipped for $78. Let me see if I can find any 2020. Hey, Tracy Phillips, have you tried any of the 2023s? Is there anything different or new in the 2023 production date HDRs? I'm highly curious. Yeah, if you can get meat in your prepared foods, which HDRs is not that. Like, HDRs is lentils and beans and a little bit of pasta and a couple of them now. You know, you're going to have to supplement your meat a different way. So buying canned chicken, canned tuna. So canned chicken, that's what I feed my dog, is canned chicken. I buy 4 cans for like, I think it's like $8.25, or is it 6? It's 6 cans now. I think we're buying 6 packs. And I want to say the 6 cans is like 11 something maybe. It's less than $2 a can. And that's what Stella eats. And I've started doing that with Sebastian. I mix up rice, give her a whole can of chicken, and it's about like 70-30 to 60-40. I probably give her too much rice, but she's got a big appetite, so I give her that to give her a little bit of extra bulk. And then she's got dry food that she can eat, which I don't like her even eating that processed crap. Mike says he likes the sunflower butter. Is Shocker still around? I only seen him in here for a second. Hadn't seen him comment again. But yeah, I definitely want to hear back from you guys. Like, if you knew that you were going to need it, like you knew that next year in January there was going to be no food available, power was going to go out. So this also matters, because you got to have alternative ways to either cook or prepare the food. You know, freeze-dried food you can eat with just adding water, which is another big, huge benefit of freeze-dried food, I feel like. Or stuff like this, like these HDRs, you can just eat them right out of the pack. Or canned food, you can just usually eat that right. You don't have to cook it. Shelf-stable stuff. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the sunflower butter myself. I got burned out on sunflowers whenever I was in grade school. They used to give us sunflowers on our cafeteria tray, and I freaking loved them. Loved the sunflowers, and I ate so many one time I got sick when I was real little. I was probably like 10, 9, 10 years old, something like that, 8 years old, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I ate so many it made me sick, and ever since then I've had a little bit of issues with sunflowers. Now, I can eat sunflowers that are in the shell all day long, but whenever I put a handful of shucked sunflowers in my mouth, it kind of like takes me back to that. I don't know how. Let's see. Are these 2023s? It does not say, because this guy's charging $60 or $58 a case. No, these are even older. These are 2019, so yeah. Again, I don't know how that guy's selling them so cheap. Those are 2019s as well. I haven't seen any 2023s yet. But here you can buy an entire pallet of HDRs for $1,300, which is 48 cases. But I don't know how much shipping is, or if that's include. That's probably including shipping. I don't know. I'd have to dive into that a little bit more. But let's take a look, and I'll continue to look at the chat here. Hang on, let me try to text Shocker. Or somebody else that's got Shocker's number, text him, because I don't know if I'll even actually be able to text him with this phone. If he has an iPhone, I will be able to, I think. Because he is one that I know has a lot of experience with the HDR and really has a passion for liking them. he really likes the HDRs. So I value his opinion and his feedback when it comes to this particular ration. Well, I mean, there's quite a few rations that I would probably ask him about and talk to him about. All right, let's take a look and see what's in this thing real quick. So this is a Warnick. It has... Ooh, that's a good item. Strawberry toaster pastries. It's got one of my favorite items to get as far as the HDRs are concerned. Fig bars. It's got the little paper. Shows you how to eat it. If you're in another country, maybe that could be useful. Here is a 300-calorie shortbread cookie. And, you know, this packaging is just as good as the MRE packaging. It's just silver in color, which kind of makes it unique in that aspect. What else we got in here? We got some crackers. There might be something missing out of this. It kind of feels like there might be. Maybe, maybe not. Another pack of crackers. We have pasta with tomato sauce. It was produced 283rd day of 2020. There's a lentil stew. Yeah, something's got to be missing out of here. There's a peanut butter. So the Warnick ones have the peanut butter. We've got our accessory packet here. Take a look at that here in a second. There's your lentil stew. Card, 320 calories up in there. 53 grams of carbs. It's kind of high. 7 grams of fiber. 950 milligrams of sodium, which is also high. Here's your pasta card with 410 calories. Wow. Holy wow. That's a lot of calories. I don't know if this text, if that text went to Shocker or not. Like I said, I don't know if he's got an iPhone or not. Anyway, there's the pasta. And we also have a strawberry jam. It seems like there might be a strawberry jam missing. Maybe there's not. Maybe there's nothing missing. I don't know. But it seems like I just opened this to look and see what was in it and put it all back. But maybe I ate a jam or something. I can't remember. So, the accessory packet. You do get the quality MRE spoon. They give those away. And you know that these are probably being used all over the world now. 2 packs of King sugar. Distributed by WNA out of Bremen, Georgia. Extra fine granulated sugar. Huh. We got some crushed red pepper. Nice. Some iodized salt, as if you would need that. They give you 1 moist towelette. I thought there was a coffee in here. I thought they started doing that. Oh. Atlas? Look at that. Atlas Match. Huh. Not D.D. Bean & Sons. In a white pack, strike on back, and they are brown matches with white tips. How about that? Interesting. And you get a little bit of U.S. issued butt ration here, or a napkin or paper towel, whatever you want to use it for. Is there only one here? Stella. There we go. Yep, it's just the one. Huh. All right. I don't know if I've ever had the pasta dish before. So, screw it. I'm going to heat them both up. Oh, well. I'm not going to be able to eat nowhere near all of these. So judging by the prices that I just found on eBay right now, I mean, you couldn't buy the 10 cookies and the 10 fig bars for the price you can buy a whole case for. Seriously. If they were MRE components, just, you know, your standard MRE components, fig bars, and the toaster pastries, let's just say, or the cookies, and you get, I think there's 2 packs of crackers in every single one, so 20 packs of crackers and 10 cookies, all right? You couldn't, there's no way that you could buy that for the price of the cases. So the cases are really, really good deals right now. And if you think you could eat this type of food, I would highly recommend checking it out. Toaster pastry, some crackers, spreads. Yeah, they give you sugar, but no coffee. So I got to find some coffee here. I'll find that coffee that Elandil sent me. He sent me a bunch of coffee. Where I put it. I thought I put it right here. I might have put it up Christmas time. Let's see. Well, crap. I don't know what I've done with it. I must have put it up. Let me find an accessory packet here that's got coffee in it. Or something. Alright, got some drink mixes here. Alright, guess I'm going with the raspberry beverage base powder, which is fine with me. Let me go grab those. I'll go ahead and mix this up. And then go grab those dishes. Out of the boiling water. I think this is for 20 ounces. It is. This is only 16.9. All right. Right back. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember ever trying the pasta one. So, let's see how those are. All that dye. So much. It's probably got to have the red 40 in it. I don't know what I've done with the little package to see. I'm sure it's got to be that red, right? And that is really red. All right, pack of crackers. Nice seal on there. And with the modern crackers, unlike the vintage ones I've been having for quite some time, these ones just don't hold up. They just break. Start crumbling. Got some on the floor, on the carpet. Awesome. Let's take a look at the shortbread cookie. It's also worse for wear. Jeez. I'm going to leave that in there. That even kind of looks a little bit funky. The way it's stuck to the packaging and stuff. Strawberry toaster pastries. Double packed? Yes. I mean, these things will hold up for a long time packaged this way, I feel like. And we've seen the ones from back in the day, like the cinnamon ones and stuff, and they are freaking awesome when they're aged, I'm telling you. Something about the way they age in this packaging just makes them even better. These are not frosted, and they are pretty stuck together. Let me see if I can get them apart with my knife. There we go. Getting crumbs all over the place. The cookie's demolished. The crackers are breaking. But it seems to me like one of my cases looked like it literally got kicked off the truck, if I remember right. It's been a while. All right, let's cut this open at the top. Love me some military issue fig bars. Good Lord, look how smashed this is. It's stuck to the packaging. My goodness. But, see that? It's like my favorite part of these. It's the ends. I'm just going to leave that one in there. Not looking so hot. All right. Let's try out the pasta first. And I will put this one in a bowl. The other one I'm just going to eat out of the packaging. Pasta with tomato sauce. Looks like I see beans in there. I mean, it smells like Chef Boyardee. Definitely got beans in it. What in the world? I was expecting some sort of like spaghetti type noodle deal. Whew, that's hot. Real hot. Whew. Trash needs to go out, Ethan. All right, remember this one is 410 calories. So this is a massive meal, really. One of the larger calorie counts that I've seen. You do have some elbow macaroni in there, but it's not... This is not really a macaroni or pasta dish, really. Like, I could easily count how many pieces of pasta are in there. So there's like 20. And it looks like we got, I guess that's lentils along with it. And it's so hot I'm not going to be able to eat it yet. Ever seen the movie Piano Man? I've never seen that movie, actually. Good old names have to be destroyed. Yeah, kids are cruel. I only made it up to that comment, but I was trying to read back a little bit. Yeah, there's still a lot of people with the name Vladimir, though, I think. Well, I guess a lot of them are probably from the, you know, I guess Russian area. All right, here we go. This is pasta with tomato sauce and lots of lentils. I guess that's probably where a lot of those calories come from. I don't know. Down the hatch. That is weird. The lentils are a lot more toothy than I expected them to be. They got quite a bit of firmness to them. But I do like the like little, it's like a little miniature bean, more or less. It's not bad. It does have this weird savoriness to it, and I'm not exactly sure what that's coming from. It's really hot too, and it's super thick. If you were to try to eat this not heated up, I mean, I can only imagine how tough it would be. And it seems like I did let one of these cool down or tried to eat it cold, and it was like kind of slimy. It's kind of weird. So it's got a sweetness to it, but it's also got this savoriness to it that's kind of built into the sauce, it feels like, or tastes like. I think it could benefit from some of this crushed red pepper. I'm going to save some for the other one just in case. And it can also, whoops, benefit from some of this salt and pepper. All right. Now that should really change things up quite a bit. With all the added seasonings, salt, pepper, and the crushed red pepper. Crushed red pepper, yeah. It's seriously so hot I can hardly eat it. All right, let's see if that made any difference. That has got, I don't know, man. It's got a weird flavor to it. If I was super hungry, though, this would be a godsend. It's really not bad. You're going to have to like lentils to be okay with eating HDRs, though. I mean, that's just a plain and simple fact. The salt and pepper seem to really enhance whatever that flavor is in there that I don't like. And then the crushed red pepper, a bit of spice on top of that. So all in all, the seasoning, I feel like it does make it better. I'm glad that they include that in there as an option, especially because you get menu fatigue. You know, adding spices like that is really a way to combat menu fatigue. All right. This is the lentil stew. That is what this is, right? Yep, lentil stew. There you go. This is the one that's like sticky and like slimy. Reminds me of like that Japanese dish. Or yeah, it's Japanese. It's like stringy and sticky. It's like some sort of bean. I've seen Eric Surf 6 eat it before. I can't remember what it's called though. They put it in like a little like ramekin almost, like a little tiny dish, and they eat it with chopsticks, and it's like real stringy, like slimy. I don't know, but that's how this ends up when it's cold. All right, there it is. You got some beans, some lentils, some gravy. Nah, not natto. Is it natto? I know exactly what you're talking about. Fermented soybeans. Yes, that's it. That's what it is. Yeah, I remember that now. Now that you said that. Or that just triggered my memory. All right, here we go. Oh, it's hot. Oh my God, it's hot. That is 10 times more savory than this. This has definitely got a sweet aspect to it, especially now that I'm trying that right after this. This reminds you of like, if you ever had beans and cornbread, this is like the beans that you have with the cornbread. Yeah. I was gonna say I kind of like. I want something like that with it. Cornbread would be freaking amazing. Let's see how a cracker does with it. The gravy itself, though, is exactly like those beans that I'm talking about. Like having pinto beans with cornbread. It's more or less what this lentil stew tastes like. Let's see how it is with a cracker. Hot, hot. My Lord. Burning the crap out of my tongue. I think I seen it at a Asian market that I used to go to. It was like in a vacuum sealed package. That's not bad. Adding the cracker in with it. I don't know. It's like it's missing something. I'll give it a little bit of salt and pepper. I feel like it was only salt that went in. I'll give it some pepper. And then I'll try adding some crushed red pepper here in a second. I'm telling you, cornbread would go amazingly with this. A little bit of dill relish. That's how I eat beans and cornbread, with some relish. Does anybody else do that? Or is it just me? I don't know how much the crushed red pepper is going to go here with this. I feel like it's not the type of dish that benefits from crushed red pepper, but I will try it with the crushed red pepper. You know what? That did add something to it. Yeah, I would recommend the crushed red pepper, actually. Well, that was with the salt and pepper as well. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, for $1.80 something a meal is what you can get these for right now. It's going to be hard to beat this. And I do feel like I'm probably missing like a dessert or something. Or maybe I'm missing a strawberry jam, maybe. I don't know. I have to look at the menus again. Yeah, these crackers, though, they don't really taste any different than the ones that come in the MREs currently. I don't know. They might be a little bit different, actually, flavor-wise, composition. Seriously. The stuff. Get it on you, and it stains you. Like, as soon as I crack the lid, it like shot out of the bottle. It's nice and refreshing and all, but I just can't get over the dyes. Too bad they don't start putting something like this in an HDR. I mean, they're supplying water to anybody they're supplying HDRs with, dropping pallets of both. So, might need that wet wipe to clean my hands. All right, let's start off with some peanut butter and jam. Why not? Strawberry is my favorite too, so I'm glad to see the strawberry jam and the strawberry Pop-Tarts. The other Pop-Tarts that they put in, brown cinnamon and stuff, and the ones that have the coating on them, ones that don't, the icing, they're all good. Like, I don't have any. I used to not like the Pop-Tarts, but, well, the aged ones have grown on me. The new ones, we'll see. We'll see right now what I think about those. Because you don't really see those in MREs anymore. I don't think they're in any menu anymore, actually. Pretty sure they're not. The only way you can find them is HDRs. They might put them in like a meal cold weather, but I don't know. And I'm pretty sure they've stopped making long range patrols like years ago now. So, all right, there we go. Just says peanut butter, not any type or fortified or anything like that. So, peanut butter. Huh. That tastes sweet. Weird. Sugar's the second ingredient. Huh. So maybe that's not regular MRE peanut butter. It tastes kind of different, actually. It tastes kind of sweet. Strawberry jam. Oh, look at that. Goodness. Yum. Oh, so fruity. Refreshing. Really nice natural strawberry flavor, obviously. So good. It's really like candy. It's like a treat. Mix in a little peanut butter. Peanut butter jelly time. You know what time it is. So good. That slightly sweet peanut butter mixed with the sweet strawberry jam. I would venture to say that this peanut butter, to me right now, seems better than standard MRE peanut butter. It's really hitting the spot for me. Time to try the Pop-Tart. Strawberry toaster pastry. Nice and red. It really, all I smell is like the sour dough pastry. When I smell it, I don't really smell any of the strawberry. Let's give it a try. It's crunchy. Why is it crunchy? Weird. So, from being compacted so badly, I guess, some of the innards have solidified and gotten crunchy. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It tastes kind of weird, too. Let me try some without the outer crust. That's a little better. Still tastes kind of weird, though. Not my favorite. And I love strawberry Pop-Tarts. If I was going to eat a Pop-Tart, that would be the type I'd eat. Every time. It would be strawberry. Huh. I mean, it just seems like the thing to do here. Finished chewing up the last bite that I took because it's so freaking chewy, or crunchy chewy, kind of. It's weird. All right, I'll give this a try. I'm just throwing the edges down. I don't want anything to do with them. I mean, that's definitely an improvement. But the crackers, 10 times better than putting it on there. Kind of weird. Let's cleanse the old palate real quick. At least somewhat. All right. The fig bar. Well, let's go with the shortbread cookie. Looking all broken and weird. I mean, it smells slightly sweet. I can barely pick up on some of that buttery smell. It really don't have much of a smell. It's just really faint. Let's give it a try. That tastes kind of weird too. I don't know. It tastes a lot like preservatives to me. I don't know what's going on with that. It's not exactly what you would think of when you would think of shortbread cookie, okay? It's not bad texture-wise. I mean, it's a nice snack. It's just not exactly what I would consider like a good shortbread cookie. But it's not a bad cookie. I know it's kind of weird to say. It's kind of like a mix between a sugar cookie and a shortbread cookie. That's what I would say. Well, now that's an improvement. Those flavors mix well together. The cookie mixed with the strawberry jam and peanut butter, not a bad combination. The cookie is so substantial and so toothy. I mean, it's like it's a big honking cookie. You know what I mean? There's a lot to it. All right. Best for last, in my opinion. My favorite. Look at that. Glistening in the light. Look at that. I'm going right in for the best part right there on the end. Here we go. Nice and crunchy on the end. Really a unique fig flavor when it comes to fig bars. The ones that come in rations just taste different. I guess from being stored so long and maybe the way they're stored, plus they get this like super smashed effect. Usually, like they almost look like this. And I don't know if that does something to it, like smashes fruity fig into the bread. I don't know. But they're something fun to eat, in my opinion. I love seeing them in a ration. I love it. Yeah. Fig's still my favorite. It's nice and figgy. The breading kind of tastes exactly like what you would think from a Fig Newton type breading. But then the fig itself has like this slightly crunchy texture to it. Plus it's also gooey at the same time. It's a different fig eating experience, Fig Newton eating, whatever, fig bar eating experience than if you never had a military one before. They're different. They're built different. They really are. All right, so that wraps up the entire HDR. It might have been missing an item or something, but if it was probably a duplicate of something like strawberry jam or something. the heck? Do I make barbecue sauce? I do not ever make barbecue sauce. Nope. Just found these cards the other day. Super cool. World War II escape map was printed on these bicycle cards. Like, this was a legit thing that actually happened and gotten into guys in POW camps so they could escape and have a map. Pretty cool, man. It was actually hidden. So it was printed on the cards, and then they would have these like stickers that they would peel off of them, revealing the part that had the map on them. During World War II, the United States Playing Card Company joined forces with American and British intelligence agencies to create a very special deck of cards. This deck was specifically created to help Allied prisoners of war escape from German POW camps. The deck of cards became known as the Map Deck. It was made by hiding maps of top-secret escape routes between two paper layers that make up all modern playing cards. The original decks would peel apart when soaked in water to reveal the hidden maps and allowed escaping prisoners the ability to find their way to safety. And this is a commemorative deck. It's got like the map printed on them. You'd have to sit down and put the whole thing together. Like it's probably done in order of like how it's supposed to be, which I'm not sure how decks of cards come. They come suited, or if they come all the, I can't remember if they come all the aces together, all the jacks together, all the kings, all the queens, all the jacks, all the tens, all the nines. Can't remember. Hey, got a super chat from LC. If you had to design the perfect snack for an HDR and an MRE, what would it be? What would be the number one choice? Something that has never been seen in a ration. Huh. To address the HDR aspect of it, there's a lot of technical restrictions and rules that you have to follow when it comes to what can go into an HDR. I don't actually, most of us, I don't know if anybody outside of the ones at Natick and the manufacturers know exactly what the restrictions are that they put on these, but I can just go based on what I know is in HDRs and kind of try to follow the guidelines that I've like from knowing what they've put in them. And if I was going to put something in an HDR, I would probably make it something along the lines of a soft, cakey item that could be used in a savory way or as a dessert. So cornbread would probably fit that scenario pretty well, but I don't know that you could use cornbread, so it might have to be like a really dumbed down version of cornbread, just like barely sweet, something soft that you could add into so many of these dishes are like this. I feel like something like that would be perfect to go in there. But it could also be used as a dessert item by throwing some jam on top or even the peanut butter. You know, it would have a wide range of uses that way. Now I got I don't know what I've done with them. I had these packs that I got from I think I got them from Saltycroccollectibles, or maybe they're ones that I got somewhere else. They were either 2 or 4 packs of Camels, and I used to keep them right here. I don't know where they're at. So tonight, I think I'm going to have, right now, an Export A from Canada. This, I believe, came from Trucker. If I'm not mistaken, I think he sent me these, probably it's been a couple years ago. Well, I got one left in this side. It's going to be the lucky smoke that I keep to the last cigarette. That's just superstition that I have. It's something I've been doing for a long time. And on this side, whoop, there came the lucky one. You know what? I was going to save that weird pack of matches, different manufacturer, but I'm sure I got plenty of these. Surely I do. I want to see how good they are, since they're sending these to folks overseas. See if it'll like first strike, if it's a decent match. Actually feels like a decent match. It's stiffer, which I like. It's a lot stiffer, actually, than a lot of the D.D. Bean and Sons ones. Oh, yeah. Not bad. Not bad matches. Definitely on par. And finish LC's question. Thank you for the super chat, LC, by the way. Really, really, really do appreciate that. So, trying to think of a new, never before used MRE item. I'm going to have to think about that one for a second. Because it's got to be shelf stable. Or somewhat shelf stable. It could be put in a package and last for 3 to 5 years. If it was up to me and I could put anything I wanted in there, I'd put a 4-pack of smokes in there. That's what I'd put it. I think guys deserve that that choice. And if they don't want them, they can pass them to the guy next to them that does want them. Like, that would be my main choice of something I could, if I could put anything into an MRE. That'd be it. Kaylin says a Hostess chocolate pie. Ugh. I feel like those chocolate pies would probably get dry. That's what I think would happen to them, and they would probably break. Which obviously, they're not the most durable thing. Now, if you put it in there, if you used the tri-laminate packaging, the real stiff tinfoil stuff, like the cookies in, like the figs in, like that real stiff stuff, and you put the box inside of that, it might hold up well enough. I feel like it would probably crumble. The Export A. That's what these are, right? Yeah, these are the Export A. Smooth? SMTH, it says. I guess these are smooths, and they are super smooth. Canadian smokes, I've noticed, are just, in general, better than the ones that we have down here. These are tiny. They're just wee little tiny smokes, but they're good. They are good. I always catch myself, and I smoke them all the way down to the filter every time. I guess because they're so tiny. Pondering on what to put in an MRE. That's never been put in there. You know what? Something I think would be cool. You'd probably have to shrink it down a little bit. Not half size, but maybe like 2/3 of the size, I think would probably fit. I think a can of Pringles in an MRE would be awesome. I think it'd be super cool. Like, make them just long enough to where they'd fit in the bag sideways and put them right on top and then seal the bag. And you'd have that can helping protect everything else from getting smashed. I think a can of Pringles would be cool. Yeah, I like that idea. Oh, sour cream and onion. All day. But I think if you were going to put Pringles in an MRE, they'd probably have to be original. I mean, they'd probably just have to be the original to fit the most palates, for the most people. Or like a trail mix, like a legit trail mix, the kind that has like the little Doritos in it, little Sun Chips. Well, there is that Doritos, or not Doritos, but Frito-Lay mix. It's got the pretzels, the little Doritos, the Sun Chips, Cheetos. I think that's all it has in it. I would want a better mix than that. I like the off-brand when it comes to like the party mix stuff like that. I think a party mix would be good. A donut, a chocolate donut investory. It looks like that's what you're suggesting. You could do a chocolate bread donut. I feel like if you tried to put icing, just like they've done with the toaster pastries, they put those in there that had the icing, it just kind of turns into a disaster. Oh, yeah, I'm to the filter almost. Gardetto's snack mix is awesome. Gardetto's. I don't know if I know that brand. A vacuum sealed donut. So I have still yet to try the bagel, and there was something else they did. Oh, the biscuit. I ain't had a biscuit either. I have 3 or 4 of them, and I still have yet to try one. Or maybe I have tried one and I just don't remember. That's possible. Did I try one? Seems like I did try one. See, a biscuit would go well with those beans as well. But the problem, like the military breads have, they can call it a biscuit all day long. It's probably just going to be a wheat snack bread cut in a octagon. Like, it's not really a biscuit. But at the same time, we see and we have seen other militaries, Canada, Australia are the first two that pop to mind. Australia has, hands down, the best bread product in any ration, in my personal opinion. I feel like Australia's bread, I mean, if there was one thing that I could bring into MREs that like I know about, that I know would absolutely work, it's Australian bread. That the Canadian buns are, I'm not like they're second place. They're second place when it comes to the bread. As far as like having a real substantial white bread option. When you get into like the dark breads and stuff, we've seen dark breads and they hold up well when they're sealed, when they're packaged and sealed properly. So the dark breads can go in and last, but we also know that there is options for well, I mean, what's the oldest bread I've had out of a Canadian? Back when they used to have the loaves, I probably had one that was 25, 30 years old, and it was still edible, or it was still probably perfect, if I remember right. So I don't know why they insist on continuously sticking with those wheat snack breads and really subpar bread options. I don't know. Crackers, I heard they were doing away with the crackers, which, why? Like, that's the best bread item that the Americans have had for, well, forever. Since the inception of individual rations. back to the topic at hand. With the prices of HDRs right now, it's going to be really hard to beat that price. Again, breaking it down per meal, because there's, okay, an HDR is a 24-hour ration. I didn't mention that in the beginning. I should have. It is 24 hours worth of food. Absolutely. And it absolutely is. For a grown man, grown adult, you get everything you need to survive for a day, for an entire day. So a case of these things for $37.50 is a solid 10 days worth of food for you. And if we're being honest, if you ration this stuff out, if you couldn't survive off a case of those for 20 days, I don't know. Like, you might be a little bit in the calorie deficit, but if you had to ration food out, you could easily survive 20 days on a case of HDRs and not really be missing anything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Kaylin, the prices right now are crazy good. I had no idea they were so cheap right now. The last time I seen them, I think they were, well, I do remember them being cheaper, but it seems like the last time I seen them, they were running about $50 a case. 50, $60 a case, which is still a good deal. Like, when it comes to shipped, that's with shipping, like, that's still a pretty good deal. And as of right now, like, if you buy more than one case, they were $34 and some change, which is putting them down to like 17 and some change per case. That's a screaming deal. That's you can't do better than that. I wonder what it breaks down to per meal wise on like that ready wise. It's less, I think. Well, not per meal. That'd be per serving on the ready wise. This is per meal, like actual meal. Yeah, I would say this is probably the cheapest thing you could probably pick up. Now, that being said, if you are even thinking about putting some food up, and this is something that's on your radar, I highly recommend getting a case to just try. Let yourself get really hungry. Don't eat for 24 hours and then try one. You know, you don't want to try these things like right after you've had a meal, because they're not the most appetizing thing in the world. Neither are MREs, to be quite frank. Like, they're designed to be eaten when you're hungry, not just recreationally like a lot of us do. This conversation I'm having is we're talking about right now is a whole different animal. We're not talking about the collecting aspect or the recreational aspect, or not even talking about like the extreme outdoorsman or the camping enthusiast. We're talking about survival food and what options there are out there right now. Because budget right now for almost everyone is at the top of the list, because everyone's budgets are dwindling. Everyone's dollar is not going as far on a daily basis. Our dollars are shrinking daily. And what can you do to combat that? There's not a whole lot you can do unless you know something I don't. Unless you're rich and you can make crazy investments and make money out of these hard times. But there are people doing that. So I didn't even understand how this worked, but I can't remember what company it was that they used as an example. But they basically make bets on the stock market and individual companies and products. And it was this one company. This one company was worth $5.7 trillion. Like, that was their net assets, all their capital that they had it available, which this is all digital, really. It's all just fake, not real money. Anyway, they had almost $60 trillion in these bets against companies, against them going up or down in the stock market. It's crazy the way things are set up right now. And back whenever everything crashed in 2008, Barack Obama was supposed to stop all this stuff. He was supposed to stop all these bets, and they were supposed to be above board, and it was all supposed to be done through like the New York Stock Exchange, through above board pathways. And that company that I'm speaking of, I can't remember what company it was, but 97% of that almost $60 trillion in bets that they had, 97% was not going through the typical channels of investments, like the New York Stock Exchange and whatever, CDs and other investments. Investor, you think that the rates are going to go up again? I've been wondering that myself. So, whenever they invented, created the Fed back in 1913, it has literally been a thorn in our side ever since its inception. And the ones that were behind that, there's a big conspiracy theory. And honestly, we'll never know the truth. We'll never know the facts. But there's a conspiracy theory that that's why the Titanic sank, that everybody that was against the Fed back in 1913, 1912, they were all on the Titanic. And was it last minute JP Morgan was supposed to get on, and he didn't get on the boat, and he was for it. And right after that, Fed came into existence. In the middle of the night, they passed this through the federal government. And if you don't know, the Fed has nothing to do with the United States government. It's a privately owned company that controls our currency, which is bonkers. That's insanity. And then what they did with enacting, with doing away with the gold standard and literally coming in and stealing people's physical gold. I mean, good Lord. Some of the things that we know have happened in our history, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory either. But if you talk about it and you bring it up, you got these people that just refuse to learn the history and put. We can look at the big picture of what was going on back then. Now we know everything that happened before, leading up to, then the event, then how it got passed in the middle of the night, and then we know everything that's happened after. It's real simple to see what their agenda is and what happened. Like, our money, it has been controlled by a few families ever since. Like, it's not this big conspiracy theory. You just got to look at the facts. The only thing that's theory about it is, was the Titanic sank on purpose or not? That's the only theory part about it, in my opinion. Everything else is just factual. It's just there in the history for you to read, for you to see, and you can deduce from that what happened after, whether or not you think it could have been done on purpose or not. Wait, Jason, what is it? Great uncle of mine was at Fort Knox. Drove a truck to the back of Fort Knox, the back delivery area. He went against orders. He opened a crate, and there was gold bars with swastikas on it. I do not doubt that one bit. It's widely known that we pilfered Germany. We took everything that we could get our hands on after World War II. Like, we went in there and took it all. We robbed everything. All the fine art, all the gold, all the silver, all of... I mean, we took compounds. We took all Hitler's crazy, huge compounds. Yeah, like that's 100%. I fully believe that. And I'll bet you, I'd be willing to bet that they never even took the time to remelt those. I'll bet they're still sitting there with the swastikas on them, if we still have any gold in there. That's another big conspiracy theory. Is the gold even still there? Do we, as Americans, with all that gold that we stockpiled, which I don't know. Here's another big thing that a lot of people, now this is a conspiracy theory, whatever. Used to be, back pre-2016, you could find all kinds of first-hand accounts of what happened on the day of 9/11. Okay, there used to be all kinds of documentary-style news, personal interviews, people's personal experiences. They used to be... I missed the super chat. I'll get right back to that. Hang on just 1 second. There used to be all kinds of this stuff all over YouTube. Used to be so easy to find. I mean, you could Google it and find it. And this is a lot of what woke me up, is going through a lot of this information back in the day. So, back in the day, I was going through a lot of this stuff. And there were a few people that told their first-hand accounts. Now, this is something that you could somewhat verify what I'm telling you, and some of it is theory. So, hang on, let me get back to this super chat. Oh, Molly wishes to know where General Russ is. He is right next to me, right here. As always. He's always hanging out right next to me right here. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you, Molly. Okay. I'll address this point real quick, just because I find it to be really interesting when it comes to gold supply. So, all kinds of countries, big countries, China, Japan, Switzerland, had stockpiles of gold in the safes, in the vaults in the World Trade Center. Okay? I mean, they had tons upon tons. You can verify this. You can absolutely find this information out there. So, I'm going to tell you first off about an account that a couple people had that were down in the parking garage. Now, to get down into these vaults were underground. So, anyway, they were running up out of the parking garages up to the surface level. And I remember two different people back in the day, accounts, that came up on a box truck that got stuck. I don't know if they ran over the curb. I can't remember exactly. But these people, their accounts were that they came up onto this box truck. The door was left wide open on it. It was running, but it was stuck. And the back door was open, and there was a pallet of gold in the middle of that box truck. These people said that it was chaos. There was people running everywhere. This truck was stuck in the middle of the road, door open, nobody in the truck. Nobody was trying to get the truck out or anything like that. This must have been after the first building fell. I'm pretty sure that's what they said. It was like right after the first building had fallen, and everybody thought that building was falling as well, especially if you were down in those sub-levels. Like, holy cow. I could only imagine. But anyways, they said that they seen a truck that had a pallet of gold sitting in the middle of the road. So there was rider trucks, I think is what they said, or whatever, box trucks, that they were putting pallets of gold on and driving up out of there. That is extremely suspicious. So after 9/11, they recovered some gold out of there, and they made coins out of commemorative coins. You guys can probably look this up and find them sold on eBay right now. That was made or that was found. They were either made from or found intact under the buildings after they fell. So, yeah, New York City's got a thin layer of gold plating. I've watched the guys that go into the Diamond District and stuff down around, 47th to 53rd or somewhere along in there, between 7th and 6th and 7th Avenue, like you're going over towards Radio City. In between Radio City and Times Square right there, there's that's where that guy that's big, popular here on YouTube, Trax, he's got a shop over there. I can't believe I never went in there. Maybe I did go in there when I lived in Times Square, because he was only like a block and a half away from where I lived. He wasn't popular on YouTube back then. But anyway, where did all that gold go? There's tons upon tons of gold missing from the World Trade Centers. Where'd it go? It's interesting to think about who got it. Somebody had, I mean, there's so many things that have to go into that to be able to remove that from, I mean, you're going to have forklifts. You're going to have access. You're going to have, like, it's all going to have to be part of the plan. So anyway, so that again, conspiracy that happened, but there's also a ton of gold missing after the buildings fall. I swear, I think I seen an official report that they blamed it on it melting. Even if it melted, it's still recoverable. But I don't know. It just still bothers me. That's one of the things that bothers me to this day. One of the things I seen years ago that always stuck in my mind. That I could just picture that box truck sitting there with a pallet of gold in the back. Because you can't, I don't know how much gold you could haul on a small box truck like that. But it probably ain't much. Like it's probably like a pallet or something. Or maybe two. I don't know. I don't know how much a pallet of gold would weigh. You'd have to have like a metal pallet, I would assume, to stack gold that high on a pallet anyway. It had to be a special kind of pallet. Couldn't just be a wooden pallet. See that? I don't know, LC. I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't above board. Let's just put it that way. It's not like the buildings got hit and they're like, oh, let's move all this gold out of here, because, first of all, absolutely nobody thought those buildings could fall. Nobody would have, up until the minute they fell, if you would have told a firefighter getting ready to run in there, this building's going to fall, he'd have been like, there ain't no way, dude. There ain't no way. And that's the way everybody felt. There's just no way that those buildings are going to fall because of a fire. And I don't know if you guys know how quickly jet fuel burns off, but it burns off quick. Like, that's the whole point. It burns hot and it burns fast. And yes, there was a ton, literally, I think tons probably, I'm assuming. I don't know how many tons of jet fuel were on them planes. Tons of jet fuel. But that stuff burned off quickly. And there wasn't really much in that building that was flammable. A little bit of carpet, a little bit of office supplies, but not much that was flammable in there. I mean, really, there just wasn't. Concrete floors underneath that little bit of carpet. That carpet would have, on the initial zone, would have burned off quickly. I mean, I could talk about this for hours. There's so many things that do not make sense, that the official NIST report is just absolute total crap. They spent, I want to say it was 100 times more investigating Nixon or Kennedy or some other investigation they done than versus the investigation into 9/11, which makes no sense. It also doesn't make sense how quickly they got rid of the evidence, in my opinion. Some people will argue, well, they had to do something with it. Yeah, they were shipping it over to an island that they were just, with plenty of room to store it. They could have just done that. I mean, there's not any reason that Those entire buildings should have been sent to China and melted down for scrap. There was plenty of places here that could have melted them buildings down, if anything else. They didn't want nobody seeing it. That's my personal opinion. Then when you look at how long that pile burnt after the buildings fell. Physically impossible. Absolutely. It burnt for months. It should have smothered itself out. Like, there's no way. And I don't mean like it was burning like a campfire burning. I mean it was burning like a torch. Like it was literally melting through the earth. Melting down through the... It was absolute... It makes zero sense. I think a lot of people know parts of what happened that day. I think a few people know everything that happened that day. And I think all of those people were paid well enough that we probably won't hear much from them, but we will hear from some of them. And we have heard from some of them. It's just people don't believe someone's account or someone's information. They choose to call them a conspiracy theorist, which is a term that CIA or FBI one came up to discount people that would look into things like this. Oh yeah, they're just crazy conspiracy theorists. Well, it's worked. I mean, the work that they done to discount people and be able to run these psyops right in plain sight, it has all worked. I mean, it's all worked. Man, there was this guy, Paul, I think his name's Paul Harvey. Back in the 60s, he made a radio program talking about, he called it the devil, but like, how would you destroy the world? And he used the United States as the catalyst of which kind of, everything he said, I'd have to pull it up. Let me confirm that it's Paul Harvey. I'm almost positive that it is, but you guys have got to hear his speech that he had on the radio. It's maybe 60 to 90 seconds. Let me pull it up. I saw Joe Rogan react to it in the past couple of days, but I heard it months ago. For the first time, I heard it months ago. And it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Let me see if I saved it. Knowing me, I didn't save it. Let's see. Yep, Paul Harvey is the guy's name. The audio is not very good. Hang on. It's a 4-minute clip.
To today, in the timeline of the things that he said, it's pretty wicked. It's pretty wow. I'm not shocked. If I were the Prince of Darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness. And I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the right.
You know what? Let me find a better audio than this. Pretty sure I can probably find it. If you guys haven't heard this, it's kind of shocking. Let me know if you can hear it.
If I were the devil, if I were the devil, If I were the Prince of Darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. Thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve. Do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want it until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. What'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing. Paul Harvey. Good day.
That's fascinating to hear. It's almost like someone heard that back in the 60s and said, this is exactly the plan. Let's do that. More of that. He did a good job. I think he was probably just using current events and current forecasts of someone who's black-pilled, say, like what they call them today, of the future. It's fascinating to listen to something like that someone said in the 60s that's so relevant, or even call it on point for today's society. I mean, look, that was like almost 60 years ago. It might have been 60 years ago. I don't know exactly what year this was. It's like 60 years ago. Let me see if I can tell you the exact date. It was 1964. So exactly 60 years ago. They have to play games to make us want to fight each other. Humans just inherently want to get along, and they don't inherently want conflict. That's just not something it's been bred into some people. I'm not going to say nobody on Earth wants that, but most humans want a peaceful interaction with everyone. They want things to be peaceful. They want to be nice to everybody. Like that's 99% of people. So to get them to go against what their natural instincts are, like there's got to be a lot of propaganda and indoctrination and baiting people into doing things. It's just like 2 days ago I saw where this guy, I want to say it might have been in California, you had those people blocking the freeway, which is illegal. You can protest all you want, but you can't block a freeway, because what if someone's dying down the road, or like you just can't, like that's not a legal way to protest. You want to do climate protests, whatever, that's fine. Like, but you can't do it that way. You can peacefully assemble, but you can't do it in the middle of the highway. Well, one guy, I can't remember what his name is. I'm not glorifying this at all, because this is definitely, he did not handle this properly. Got out of his truck, walked up there, had some exchanges back and forth with him, tried to drag a couple of them out of the way, finally got fed up and pulled something out of his pocket. One guy proceeded to say, "What are you going to do? Use that?" Like, basically, what are you going to do? Me? Were you going to use that thing? And dude, like, they show the video of him, but they don't show him doing it. And it really seems like he did it with zero emotion. He just did it. Proceeded to move everything out of the way that was in the road. I believe he might have left, I think, 2 people laying in the road. Went back to his car, sat down, and waited on the police to come and get him. But they're pushing people to these extremes. They're pushing people to these things. And it's to me, it's so crazy. Everybody's going to have a different outlook and a different opinion. Everybody just about is going to have at least a slightly different opinion or outlook, because everyone's lives are different and everyone's circumstances are different. But if we all agreed to just try to work together on these issues and these aspects, we would get a gazillion times further that way than we do fighting for causes and fighting for this. It's a silly way to exist. And until more people realize that, I guess really it's going to have to be a mass awakening of people that realize that, we're not going to get far. We advance, but it's slowly. We could advance 10 times faster if we just all work together. People from every side. There shouldn't be any more sides. But the government, with the mainstream media as one of their main tools, are able to keep people divided. And I don't know how to combat it myself, other than anybody who realizes this and knows this is what's going on, I feel like you should try to get involved in your local government, and then work your way up into larger spots in government, and keep this as your main goal, is to get to working together with everyone. There's got to be a way to do it. And I feel like these tactics have been being used for a long time. And maybe it's just the human condition and greed. I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like some of these people that are billionaires and coming up on being trillionaires, individuals, you got to be a different kind of person to think that you need to be doing that. And then you got people working for you that are making $13-14 an hour, that can't keep their bills paid, and they're working 10 times harder than the owner of that company. I mean, that I'm all for capitalism and working your way up and being successful, but I also don't agree with some of the ways that these companies do business now. We're not supposed to have monopolies, but yet there certainly are companies that are way, way, way too large to the point nobody else can get into the to the market. So I don't know, I'm not going to smoke that. I'm trying to quit. All right, I have babbled on. Let me look through the chat real quick. How much is shipping? Let's go back here. Oh, Tim, you're old enough to remember listening to Paul Harvey. He sounded really familiar to me, too. It seemed like he would have been on back in the 80s. I don't know, but his voice seemed really familiar to me. I mean, of course I remember Casey Kasem. Paul Harvey. That just that name doesn't ring a bell for me until I heard that. Probably, I might have seen or heard that 6 months ago, a year ago, maybe. I don't know. Don't know if you know about, but Reaper had access to it, to all they needed. What was Reaper? Afghanistan has control of what? Oh, don't even get me started on the current administration leaving behind billions and billions of dollars in weapons, tanks, helicopters, even jets to be used against us or sold, and then that money buying other stuff to use against it just. And I will, like, plain flat out, Trump said exactly what any common sense person was saying when Milley told him, "Oh, it's just cheaper to leave it behind, sir." You're going to tell me that it's cheaper than putting a half tank of fuel in there or putting fuel into that truck to load it on than it is to just leave it? Or that's bananas. That's bananas. Billions and billions of dollars worth of equipment, machine guns. I mean, you name it. Grenades, launchers, like drones, computers, exercise equipment, buildings, everything. That still irritates the crap out of me. And then what happened at the airport, and he freaking called the Taliban in and let them do crowd control at the airport. And our guys, I've just listened to a guy's account that had to work right next to the enemy that they had been fighting in that area since the beginning. And our government, said, yeah, you guys come in here and do crowd control. Our guys, hands off. Weren't allowed to do nothing. Yeah, I know. It stresses me out talking and thinking about this stuff. Let me go back up to the chat real quick. Yes, sold out the Afghanis also. Sold like a, yeah, exactly. Yep. One tank cost $13 million. I would bet that they're probably more expensive than that. I mean, I understand when technology is advanced, but you also, like, you don't need to be getting rid of the last generation or the generation before that. Like, those need to be your backups. Because if your new stuff gets ran through, you need something. And I believe Putin over there, I believe that's what he ended up having to do. Like, he used up all of his new stuff, went through it in the beginning, and now he's on, like, his 2000 stuff. He's, like, using the previous generation stuff because a lot of the new stuff got ran through. Yeah, I get we're a tribal species, but at the same time, like, we're a tribal species, but we're not living in tribes anymore. And we're not living in the jungles anymore. Like, we need to be doing a lot more farming and living off the land. I mean, that's a given. But I think our mindset should be a lot better than, and it would be a lot better than it is if they weren't using those tools against us that they use, the propaganda, the mainstream media narratives, the left, the right, the skin color, like all the things that they're pushing just create more divide for really absolutely no reason. Now, there are some things that are just flat out right and wrong. Those are pretty well common sense. Like, and if you're going against that common sense, then there's probably something a little bit off in your thinking. I'm trying to be nice. Gandhi had the best solution to solving the issue. Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea. Yeah, see, I know. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it can't just be America. It has to be a worldwide movement. But it's also got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? I feel like, and they're not hiding this. Like the World Economic Forum and all that stuff that is going on now out in the open that we know about, that they're talking about, that like you'll own nothing and be happy by 2030, Agenda 2030. Now they're talking about Disease X, and what are we doing? Why are we? Why are we giving these people? I don't care how much money. Why are we allowing them power over any decision, over anything? Like it's just, it goes against all common sense. It goes against all common sense. Where was I at? Gandhi was kind of a creep. He may have been. I don't know. It's weird, man, when you find out about a lot of these people that have been celebrities or are celebrities, or people that are big politicians, and then you start finding out stuff about their past and their personal life. Now, that being said, there are also people out there that will try to ruin these people by lying, just complete lies on them. But when the evidence stacks against them in ways that it shouldn't, and I'll like for in Biden's situation, like with his daughter's diary and that came out, and his son, like his son, and things that his son has said, the way he's got him in his phone, like that says a whole lot. Because that's your son. That's someone that personally knows you as well as they could possibly. If anybody knows you, I think there's a lot going on there with the whole the hair sniffing, all that weird stuff that just, it feels illegal to see it, let alone it happening. Like just seeing it on a screen, it's like, ew, it gives you the heebie-jeebies. We don't need to make everything Oreo flavored. Why not? Um, I'll tell you what I'll tell you what I think about that. I think it's awful that those three soldiers, and my heart goes out to their families, and it wasn't their fault that they were there, in my opinion. But we should, and this kind of negates everything I just said. Every time you say "but," it pretty much cancels everything you just said. So I'm going to say this: I feel like we shouldn't even be there. I feel like we need to keep our nose out of other people's business, and I feel like that's been a problem of ours for a long time. Um, when you talk about World War II, from what we know history-wise and what we've been told, that was that was justified. That makes sense to go in and stop something so awful from happening. What's going on right now? Like, I am totally not well versed in this, and I'm very unclear on the facts of what's really going on. I don't understand it. I don't claim to understand it. But what I don't agree with is starting World War III over something where I don't think we should have been in that area anyways. I feel like you're just pushing the limits and trying to push buttons whenever you put yourself in that situation anyways. Not the soldiers themselves, but I guess commanders, the upper echelon, the ones that said that to be there. And I know this can go back 20, 30, 40, 50. This can go back a lot of years of why we're in certain areas. But that doesn't, like, my thoughts on that are, we need to not be in as many areas as we can possibly not be. I feel like we're just trying to keep that military industrial complex rolling and trying to keep it well greased, like just a well-oiled machine, man. Keep it rolling and keep it pumping. And I don't think that's the way, and that's how we've boosted the economy. That's how they have used that to boost the economy numerous times throughout our history. And this time, look, our economy's so far gone this time, I don't know. I know that they think that old trick is just going to work. And I know that's why they're pushing for what they're pushing for. I just don't think that it ain't going to work this time. We're way, way further gone than we've ever been. Unfortunately, I think it's likely that we're going to have a currency shift. I think World War III's already started, technically. I don't think World War III is going to be what our traditional thoughts of a world war is. I think it is going to be in the technical field and in the technology field of battling for. There was somebody that, I want to say it was within the last year, that stole code and hacked into an F-35 and flew that F-35 around for hours by hacking in and getting the code. I don't know if they caught the hacker. That's the type of stuff that's going on right now that a lot of times we don't even hear about it. And a lot of times these big hacks or these big code they'll sell them instead of using them. They'll sell them to Russia, or it's crazy, that type of stuff that's going on right now, that I think is probably way more harmful and much more of a threat even than your standard typical warfare that we're used to seeing over the past, like modern warfare, I would call it. You can break that down into two different scenarios, like from World War I up, or from Civil War up, guns era up. So what we typically know of as wars, I feel like we're fighting a totally different kind of war now. I think information war and them like coding and hacking and stealing, they can get into everything. They can get in, shut the power grid down. They can do all kinds of stuff. And there has been code written for that type of stuff that's been sold off to other countries. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to be seeing. I don't think World War III looks like we think it does. I think maybe it's possible that it's already got its legs and is started. Maybe, I mean, that's just my thoughts on it. Oh, internal war. Well, I mean, I guess technically you would call that a civil war. I mean, there's a lot of talk and threat about. There's just a lot of people talking about that with the whole Texas border thing going on right now, and what's going to happen there. This is the way I'm seeing it, looking at it with a common sense outlook. they've been using Texas to move all these illegally trafficked people across, and they're just going to shut that down, just like they are with the National Guards and stuff moving in. And the current administration, whoever's working with these cartel and traffickers, are just going to move over to the next state up. They're just going to move it over. I mean, it's that simple. They're going to move over to Arizona. Done. $33 million people. That's probably a pretty. So what do they? I think they've said. Tell me if I'm wrong. As far as illegal immigrants go, their number on it over the past 3 years is like 13 million. If I'm not mistaken, 11 to 13 million. Look, that's just how many they've counted. What about all the ones they haven't counted? What about all the ones that they haven't counted? And then they're sending them into these sanctuary cities, which is going to change the entire way. They're going to get more congressional seats. They're going to get more votes when it comes down to it. That's what I see that going on with that long term. I think that's they're playing the long game on that, because when they go around and they do the census, they count everyone. It doesn't matter whether you're here legally or illegally or born here. What doesn't matter. And that is a law that needs to be passed before the next census. Illegals don't count. They can't change the numbers of an area just because they're there illegally. They're there breaking the law. They don't count. And immigration is a great thing. If you come here to the proper pathways, like, that's a great thing. You're coming here most likely to better yourself, better the country, better. You're probably a hardworking person that wants to come here for opportunity. And the ones that are coming here illegally right now are getting a whole lot of opportunity dumped at their feet. I mean, they're getting handouts, what they're getting. And then you got vets sitting in the street, just guys that fought for our freedoms, fought for this country, that can't get health care worth a darn, and are living on the streets. In what world does that make sense? Not this one. It don't make sense in this world. I don't care what anybody says or thinks about that. It's wrong. And the fact that they're taking money directly out of the funds for the VA, for the medical aspect of the veterans, and giving it to illegals is bullcrap. Jason. So, yeah, so I'm going to assume that means that you've got food, you've got a way to cook, you've got a way to heat or cool your house. I think there's absolutely nothing. It used to be that preppers were looked down upon, and they were kind of made the butt of a bunch of jokes, and they always took it in stride. I've known a lot of preppers over the years, and they're like, hey, I don't care about the ridicule, because when it comes down to it, if I ever need this stuff, I'll be the one having the last laugh. I'll be the one laughing while they're starving to death, or while they're, they don't have what they need to survive. But the more chaos the world gets into, the more I'd notice, and the more, you look. You got Zuckerberg building a huge compound with a huge underground bunker that people know about. Like, it was supposed to be secret, but of course the secret got out. And then you got Bezos. You got all these celebrities and all these rich people that are investing in in solutions for if crap hits the fan. And that's a warning sign in a way, I would have to say. But the fact that they're not ridiculing preppers the way they used to, that also kind of says a whole lot. Because they used to be, you just wish the world would end. No. I've never met a prepper that wished something bad to happen. Now, at the same time, like a lot of those people that I know that have lived off grid or do live off grid, um, they don't care. Like they don't care what's going on, and I think that's the way to really. That's probably the best way to be. Is if anything was to really happen, like it's not going to disrupt your life very much. And that kind of brings us back to the topic tonight of like prepared food, being prepared, and having food preparedness is not exactly an easy thing to do because of the prices of everything. And that's why I was shocked whenever I saw how cheap HDRs are right now, because I mean that's a lot of sustenance for not a whole lot of money. And I don't I like I'm gonna have to sit down and really crunch the numbers, the calories, the servings, and whatnot, and see how much like I read off what was in the Ready Wise bucket, and I would highly, you have to cook that stuff too, by the way. That's not stuff that's just pull it out and eat it out of a shelf stable package, or pull it out, eat it out of a shelf stable can. No, this is stuff you got to cook all that pasta, all those pasta dishes. They have to be cooked. So you got to have a way to cook it as well, um, which is going to be like 15 minutes, 20 minutes on a rolling boil for your pasta or something like that. Probably 10, 15 minutes. That's not long term sustainable unless you have a huge propane tank. Like working on small propane tanks, you could get by like cooking 3 meals a day like that for your family. I don't know, what would a tank of propane last you? Like a big tank, like a grill tank. What is it, a 20-pound tank, 20 pounds of propane in that tank? I think it's something like that. That might last you what? Cooking 3 meals a day like that, maybe a week or two, maybe? I don't know. I've never put that to the test. I'm sure there's probably information out there. Preparing if something bad happens, I recommend for every gun someone has more than 1,000 rounds. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much a given if you're talking about self protection. Because that's another good point. If something was to ever happen to where you had to survive off of food for longer than a month, you got food, and you're one that's got food that for your entire family that's going to last you a year or two, within about 2 weeks, you're going to be seeing a lot of desperate people. A lot of people that don't have food anymore. A lot of people that don't have a way to sustain themselves, let alone their families. And you would see a lot of, I feel like you'd see a lot of disarray. So, unfortunately, when it gets to that point of the 2 weeks, a month, and I've seen numbers a lot lower than that. I've seen the 3 day. I've seen it all, but realistically, I think most people would probably hold out 2 weeks to a month before they started getting crazy. Outside of maybe the cities, who knows? Them people are they're not prepared for a bad fart to be in the room, let alone something really bad to happen. Nothing against some city folk, but some city folk, they don't think outside of the room they're in. But anyway, yeah, after a couple weeks, like if you're not looking desperate, people are going to be looking at you different. They're going to be like, oh, I wonder why he ain't out here looking for food. I wonder why he ain't left his house in a week. So, yeah, it'll depend on the power situation, but that all depends on whether people continue to go to work. See, that's why the whole currency thing scares me too. Banks, currency, all that. There's a lot of things that you could be afraid of that could happen. You can't live in fear, so I would definitely not consider myself a prepper in really any sense of the word, because that's not why. Most of the food that I have, a lot of the food that I have, is like older than my kids. So, and I mean, I don't have young children. So, um, yeah, I mean, my oldest son this year, he'll be 23 in June. So, and then my youngest will be 20. So, well, actually, he is 20. So, or no, he'll be 20 the 24th. Yeah, be 20 on the 24th of this month. So 22 days from today. 23 days? 21 days? What's today's date? I don't know what today's date is. 3rd? Yeah, 21 days. 3 weeks. But all right, guys. I'm going to get off of here. I've talked enough, I guess. Ultimately, big things to take away from what I've said tonight is if you are going to put some food up and you want to do it in a cheap way, the HDRs look like a good option. But I highly recommend any food that you are going to stock. I ain't going to say stockpile, but any food that you're going to stock for any certain period of time, highly recommend, even if it's something you think you'd like, that you try it first before you buy anything in bulk. As far as these rations go, like when it comes to the HDRs, you can watch the reviews that are on YouTube. You can ask me questions. I will give you anything that I can, and I will try to give you the best idea that I can, like based on what you know about yourself, and you can take what I've given you and deduce whether or not you should invest any money in these long term or not. But yeah, HDRs on eBay are mega cheap right now. Like I said, if you bought 2 cases from that one guy, they were 34 and some change per case shipped. That's crazy, because I'm telling you right now, if you take a case of HDRs, they're not light. What are they, 22 pounds, I think, for a case of 10? Something like that. I think they're something like that. They might be 25 pounds. They're pretty heavy. If you were to take a case of those to your local post office or wherever and try to ship a case of those, it's going to run, I would have to imagine it's going to run you $30 or more. I don't know how, like I said this earlier, I don't know how that guy's making any money at all. Like, he's kind of just doing a service to anybody who gets them off of him. Like, he's helping people out right now with, because like, you're more or less just paying for the shipping and paying that guy's eBay fees. Like, that's pretty much where the price is at on those things, because that's cheap. But all right, I'm going to wrap up tonight. I thought this has been interesting. We had a pretty good talk about this. And again, even stocking up on Tide Pods, yeah, as long as you're still able to do laundry, I guess. I mean, you're going to have to wash somehow, but it might not be in your washing machine. You know what I mean? You might be down, I don't know if you're in New York or where you're at, you might be down in the Hudson scrubbing your clothes. Which, I mean, that would be like, you shouldn't have to do laundry for the first, even if you've only got enough outfits to last you a week and you wear something different every day for a week, you should still be able to get by for a few months without having to do, because you're not going to be you're going to be wearing stuff that's rather dirty in a situation like that. I hope that nothing ever gets like this. Like, this is not something I wish for, that I really think that much about. But we've all seen the TV shows and the movies and stuff, and they've glorified it to the point to where I think some people do fantasize about being in situations like that. And, you know what I mean? The Walking Dead comes to mind, is a big one. I think they did a pretty good job with The Walking Dead. I think they could have done a little better with the food aspect of it. I feel like that was kind of skipped over a lot, because there was going to be a lot of preserved foods that were still going to be around as quickly as the population got wiped out. There still would have been tons of viable food all over the place, and they were basically acting like there was nothing left. I remember watching that episode where Carl had that great big thing of chocolate pudding, and I think he almost died in that episode. He was up on a roof eating that like huge can of chocolate pudding. His dad, I think, had just gotten really messed up, and he was like laying on a couch, if I remember right. But it was like this big, and then they were eating dog food and cat food, and I think that was like they were like 6 years into it at that point. Like that's how long in the series, how long they said it had been. Maybe it was 7 years into it. And maybe, depending on, it depends on how many people survive initially in a situation like that. Like, you'd really have to sit down and really think about it. But there's a lot of shelf-stable food around. A lot. And yeah, there'd be a lot of houses with a lot of canned goods just sitting in pantries and stuff that I feel like wouldn't get pilfered if the population got wiped out as quickly as it did in the show. But all right, what are we congratsing James about? Tootsie Rolls is on the menu. Oh, you hit 1,000 subscribers. Good deal. Tootsie Rolls, man. Look up the Chosen Reservoir and the Tootsie Roll story that goes along with that. We did it on the Eating History. It's amazing what accidentally happened in the Chosen Reservoir and how Tootsie Rolls saved the day. Plugging gas tanks, getting them, making it to where they could actually get up out. It's crazy. It was so freaking cold. Man, that was a rough battle. And that was like, I want to say that was like 300 U.S. military against like 9,000 or something. It was some crazy number like that. Crazy. Definitely look up the Chosen Reservoir Tootsie Roll story. I don't know where you could find that Eating History clip at. Because, I mean, I told a lot of that story, but I don't know how much of it made TV because I never really watched it. But all right. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks, LC, for the super chats. I really, really do appreciate that. Thanks to my patrons who've hung in there. Appreciate you guys. And everybody who's hung out as long as however long you did, whether it be a minute or hours, don't forget to hit the thumbs up or down. Either way, I don't care. Just feedback for Google. They like that. Don't forget to leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, all that crap that you say when you're on YouTube. Man, I cannot wait to get back to making like actual regular. When I say regular videos, I don't mean like the videos I used to make. I've got totally different plans on different types of content that I want to do. Which is probably going to require me hiring someone to work with me because I'm going to need someone to film and help edit, if not edit at all. But I do really want to do something with the ration aspect with veterans and really turn this into a whole different thing. So, and I've been looking for vintage foods in general, and man, they're hard to find. I've been having a real hard time finding anything decent. Like to find anything decent, you gotta know exactly what it is you're wanting, and then you gotta search for that one thing. You can't just look for vintage foods. No, you gotta like know what you're looking for. You gotta know that you want a can of SpaghettiOs from pre-1960 or something like that. A box of Wheaties from pre-1950. You got to know exactly what it is you're looking for, and then you look and then you find nothing. So anybody who has any good leads, this is something I've never said. Anybody who has any good leads on any like solid sealed vintage food, let me know. Hit me up in an email or something. Let somebody get a hold of me, something, and I will try to catch that message. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off here. I guess really all I got left to do now is say thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all on the next live stream. Later.